Alright, this is that Tillotson Carburetor you just see me rebuilt. Or I should say the chainsaw that Tillotson was in. It's a Homelite Super XL auto. Somebody had painted the sides on it for some reason. But you're going to see me start tuning the carburetor. Now, I'm not trying to get it 100% right now. I'm not going to get it to that point until I actually have it cutting into wood. But right now, I'm just making sure everything's working good, making sure everything will adjust like it should, and the next time I put it into wood, I will finish it. Alright, so I started out with both the low and the high screw at 1 1/4 turns out, and whenever it started, it was a little rich on both screws. So you're going to see me continuously turn it into leaner settings until it starts running smoother. So here I'm starting with the low screw. I'm going to keep leaning it out and just watch my trigger. I'm trying to get the trigger real snappy response, but I have to get the high screw adjusted as well because they do kind of both work in relationship with each other. Okay, so now I'm going to start leaning out the high screw. I'm going to find the point of max RPM. I basically want to take the high screw to the point of max RPM and then enrichen it just a little bit until it starts to kind of gurgle a little. About at this point here in the tuning process, I started to get suspicious of a problem. I'll wait until the end to tell you what's going on. But I noticed the settings keep changing. And I'll let you go at that and see if you can figure out the issue, and then I'll tell you what I got going on at the end. Watching that trigger to make sure there's a real snappy trigger response. So right now it's running pretty good. Good snappy trigger, and I got a little bit of a gurgly sound going on whenever I go full throttle. But did you notice the idle change after a second or two? This is the point I would usually call it done until I have it in wood, but there's a few other things I want to look at. I'm just letting it idle to make sure it doesn't load up. Doesn't seem to matter what I do, the trigger seems just a little sluggish. It doesn't matter if I get a little richer or a little leaner. It feels a little sluggish. It doesn't seem to matter what I do. The trigger always seems to be sluggish. I can make it a little richer, and it's still sluggish. I can make it a little leaner, and it's still sluggish. Now, I'm also getting blue smoke whenever I hit the throttle and run it up to full RPM. No matter what, I've always got smoke. So this tells me, in order to get blue smoke, I could be burning oil from the bar oil. Like, it could be seeping into the piston area, and I could be trying to burn it, or the saw may not be running efficiently enough to burn the oil that's mixed with the two-stroke gas. Now, I've done a little research on these saws, and I believe the bar oiling system is completely independent of the engine, meaning that the oil has no way of making it into the piston area. As far as I know, I believe the problem may be with the piston or cylinder or something in that area. Time will tell. I'm going to investigate my problems and figure out why I'm getting so much smoke and the trigger is consistently sluggish. I'm showing you a Homelite Super XL mine that kind of became a parts saw. Now this saw does run. Well, it did at one time. It had everything I needed on it to make it a running saw. I mean, I've had it running. But over time, with other saws, I ended up pulling parts off of this, and it kind of became a parts saw. But that might change. So I have another one. You might have seen a video of it. That I was tuning the carb, and it seemed to smoke more than it should. And basically, it's either not running correctly and not burning all the fuel, or it's leaking bar oil into the cylinder. Now, the more I researched it, the more it seems as though the leaking of bar oil into the cylinder is less of a possibility. So I'm guessing it might actually be a issue at the piston or in the cylinder, to where it's allowing oil to build up in the cylinder, not burning it. Basically, it might be a low compression. It could be a number of things. But I have a feeling that's what's going on. So today, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this muffler off, look at the cylinder. If it doesn't seem too bad, I might just go ahead with this saw and move all the parts to this one and see how this one runs. It'll have a freshly rebuilt carburetor. So, and I don't expect this, I don't think this saw has a lot of hours on it. Just because when I look at the front, I have some high hour saws, and there is zero paint up there. And this one still has a lot of paint. So I got a feeling this is actually a low hour saw. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward with, I think, taking this muffler off, looking in the cylinder, making sure things are good there, and turning this into a running saw. Now, I've been looking I mean, the oiler feels great. So nothing seems to be out of order, out of whack here. There, I squirted a little bit of oil out, you can see. So oiler seems to be functioning fine. I can't see any issues except that it's missing the parts. Now, taking the muffler off is going to be a challenge because of how that's bent up, but I should be able to do it. So I'm going to try to shoot a couple videos here of me making this a running chainsaw. It's kind of hard to do because I only have one hand, so I'm just going to have to show you after I do each step. Alrighty? Okay, so I got the muffler off, and I want to see if you can see this inside the cylinder here. Let me, there we go. Let me try to turn it. Can you see inside the cylinder at all? No. You're going to have to take my word with it. But the inside of this cylinder looks to be almost new. There isn't even the slightest sign of any scoring at all. Can you see that? There's nothing. And it looks like whatever oil they were running really gummed up things in there. So that might be because of the oil. But this definitely does look to be a low hour saw. So I am going to continue with working to make this a running saw. It's a little caked in there, but I can clean that out. I'm going to move forward and make this saw run and make it a user. Alrighty. So this is the saw that I'm going to steal all the parts from. It smokes a lot. It doesn't want to run right because it's because of how much it smokes. So let's see what happens here. So here's all the parts stripped off of this saw, and I think I discovered the problem. I want to see if you can hear it. It's going to be hard. Let's see if you can hear it as I'm going to just bump this a little bit and listen. You hear that sound in there? Pretty sure we got some piston slap going on, which tells me it's probably wore out. So I'll see if I can show you that here in a little bit. See if we can diagnose a little further. Alrighty, but on to the next step. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. I got some figured out a little bit more here. Take a look in the cylinder. Can you see it? That doesn't look too bad, does it? I don't see any problems. Nothing major. With the way the light's reflecting, it's kind of making you think it's scored up, but it's not. It's just the way it's reflecting. But then, when I do this, look at that monster. Look how ugly that is. Let me show you more. Look at this. If I stick a screwdriver in here, it will literally snag on this stuff. It just keeps snagging on it. It is so deep. It's just snagging. Over here, it's not as bad, but most of the issue is right here. So we definitely got some issues going on at the piston and cylinder, right in that area. Even though the other side, whenever I had it pulled down, whenever I had it like this, I couldn't find anything wrong. But as soon as I closed that piston up, boy, you know what I mean? Like this, I didn't see anything. As soon as I closed the piston up, I see that. Look how ugly that is. Definitely got something going on. I'd say this is the reason why the chainsaw is smoking so much. I believe we got some good scoring. The saw looks like it might have got overheated and a chunk of the aluminum might have melted off and right in that area. But there's definitely problems. There's definitely some piston slap happening. You can hear it whenever I rock the cylinder. I'm not going to tear it apart any more than this. I'm just going to move forward with putting the other saw together. But this is evidence that whenever you see your saw smoking a lot, chances are you got an issue somewhere. And I'm willing to bet this has been my problem with this saw smoking so much. All right, I'm going to keep moving forward with putting the other saw together. In that cylinder, looks pretty good. I don't see anything that concerns me. And as I close the piston up, I don't see anything that concerns me. Much better than the other one. All right, so we're going to move forward with this saw. So this bolt was missing, so I got that in, and I'm currently getting the new fuel line installed. That's where we sit right now. All right, okay, the air cleaner, the side cover, and the muffler on. I gotta do the handle and get the bar back on. Then it'll be ready to start. All right, almost there. So there we go, we're all done. All put back together. All I got left to do is to take it out and start tuning it. People ask me why I have so many chainsaws. Well, I think you figured out why I have so many chainsaws. It's so we can keep them running. If you're buying nothing but vintage and old chainsaws, it takes a bunch because you got to keep them running, you know what I mean? You need spare parts. I could be eBaying every individual part, but you know, I had everything here. Put it together. I got a rebuilt carburetor in this chainsaw. And I already know I got a good cylinder, so this should be a good running saw. All right. There you go. Time to move on. Pay attention here because we still got more problems. It appears as though we got a misfire. You'll still see a little smoke from the carbon buildup, but the big issue right now is a misfire. So in order to get the saw to run this well, I had to turn the screws almost a full turn out further than expected. So the low and the high screw are about 2.5 turns out to keep the saw running. So I am suspicious of an air leak at this point. The only thing I can think of to cause the carburetor to need this sort of an adjustment is an air leak. But I guess it's possible that the engine has had some work done to it at some point in time, requiring it to need more fuel. I guess that is a possibility. But I'm pretty certain I might have an air leak. So I keep playing with the carb tuning for a little while, and I'm just not satisfied. I have to run that thing so rich to keep it running, or should I say the settings on the carb, like I have the screws turned out so far to keep it running. There has to be a problem. if it shuts off, I'll probably never get it started because I have so much fuel trying to push through the carburetor, it'd probably just flood out. So I'm fairly certain I do got an air leak. There's a number of places that could be coming from. There could be just where a case splits open. You could have a bad gasket. Could have the crankshaft seals could be bad. Anything between the carburetor and the cylinder, anything along that channel where screws or bolts together, it could be leaking air in there. And just a little extra air would cause me to have to push more fuel through to get it to run. And I have a feeling that's what's going on. I could also have a problem with a spark plug, a coil, or even the flywheel. It could have an issue at the flywheel. So there's a number of things I got to check out. So now it's about the end of the day, and I'm going to pretty much hang it up for the day. So you're going to have to check into the next video whenever I tear the saw completely down to figure this out.